What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joshua Edwards, live from Brooklyn, New York. This is Panthers Pride Television. Yesterday kicked off the NFL Scouting Combine. Today, the defensive backs and the tight ends are lining it up, and I have been vocal about guys need to go out here and compete. I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to certain receivers saying that they are going to go out there and compete and run the Isaiah Bond, the Marcus Golden, and Luther Burden III. These dudes need to go out here and compete. And there was a guy yesterday that was a day one riser. He yesterday is probably, his showing at the combine probably raised his stock so much, and he's probably going to get anywhere from an extra 5 to 10 million just based off how he performed at the NFL Scouting Combine. And it's James Pierce Jr. Now, I understand all the head scratching or the rumors about his attitude. I understand that. But his numbers and his measurables, when you look at what he means and how he is on the football field, it was everything that I needed to see yesterday at the NFL Scouting Combine. He ran a 4.47. He's 6'4", 6'5", and ran a 4.47. He tested extremely well. Had a hoodie on. The dude can bend the edge. You saw it in the drills. Great transition in the hips. Great feet over the bags. And it's literally a direct correlation to what he does on the football field. That's why guys need to go out here and compete. That's why guys need to go out the NFL Scouting Combine and actually go out here and compete. 38 total tackles this past season, 1 forced fumble, 13 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks in 13 games played. So what does the tape say about James Pierce Jr.? One, that he is lightning fast off the edge. He's very lengthy. He knows how to use his leverage. But we all know he has to work on his pass rushing moves. And what did yesterday show us? That everything that you see right here, it translates. Now, I'm going to be honest. In my mock draft, I had him going number 13 to the Miami Dolphins. But now just looking at it, you can really make the case that he might be the second defensive lineman taken off the board. You could arguably make the case that he might go ahead of Mike Green. He might go ahead of Mason Graham. And it's only because of how he tested at the NFL Scouting Combine. Like, this stuff matters. Guys need to understand, when you go out here and produce in front of now crowds and general managers and head coaches, yes, you can do well in the boardroom. But obviously the tape doesn't lie. But what does your measurables look like? Does the tape actually match the time? Like, we know that you're fast, but you're testing 4.47, and this is what Dan Morgan had to say, about his plans for the defense. We got to get bigger. You have to be tougher. You have to be more physical. That's what that's what we're looking to do around here. And James Pierce Jr. literally checks off everything that we're looking for. So Mason Graham, you not testing affected your draft stock. Mike Green, for some odd reason, you all of a sudden got hurt, and that's affecting your draft stock. Like, we know Abdul Carter is the shoo-in for the first defensive player taken off the board, maybe outside of Travis Hunter. Like, that's going to happen. But the Mike Green, you are literally battling for either $5 million or $10 extra million. That 9th spot, that 8th spot, to that 15th spot, and it's because you didn't test it. Like, who the hell wants to go to Marshall to watch a NFL Pro Day, and it's not damn Randy Moss? Like, that is what I mean by you got to go out here and test well and compete at the NFL Scouting Combine. So you're going to see in my next mock draft when I update it, James Pierce Jr. is no longer going to be that 13th spot. You could arguably see that he really could be a Carolina Panthers, and it's because of how he tested on the tape, and I mean on at the NFL Scouting Combine. And like I said, what does the tape scream? The tape screams that he is a guy that can be one of the top, or if not the top edge rusher in this class. 7.5 sacks. He has great speed, and he knows how to bend the edge. And that's what's beating a lot of tackles nowadays. Speed off the edge. If you look at some of the best pass rushers, the Micah Parsons, the Nick Bosa, it's speed off the edge, having that straight arm, and being able to bend the corner. So shout out to James Pierce Jr., man. I am ecstatic about how you produce. And there's another guy. Huge surprise. So right now, you guys know that I'm kind of juggling in between everything. Like, I think Will Johnson's not going to test today, which I thought he should have. For whatever odd reason, he's not going to. But now you're seeing a Jihad Campbell. His stock is actually increasing as well. And then there have been other links that we might draft him. And when you look at his measurables, this might be a bad take, but it's a great take. Let's just look at the college measurables. People are comparing him to Fred Warner. And they're comparing him, one, because of how he plays sideline to sideline. He had an excellent 40-yard dash, 4.52 unofficial. And if you just look at the body of work, he is a prototypical inside linebacker, currently speaking. 5 sacks this past season, 1 interception, 12 tackles for losses, 117 total tackles. When you compare that to Fred Warner when he came out, Jihad Campbell right now is a first-round talent. I have a first-round grade on him. And then, like I said, you just look more at his measurables. 4.52 unofficial. They are literally calling him Fred Warner 2.0 because of how he went out there and he performed. Now, there was another guy, Jay Higgins. Yesterday I talked about him. I wanted to see how he was going to test. He did not test well at all. 4.82. But when you just compare him to Jihad Campbell, like Jihad Campbell right now is the prototypical inside linebacker that you are looking for. And what was the one thing that Dan Morgan said we needed to do? Become more physical. He needs guys that's going to be able to take the ball away and have game-breaking or game play-making abilities. Jihad Campbell fits that niche that we're looking for. We know Zach Bond is going to be a free agent. If we don't get him in free agency, hell, Jihad Campbell is there. There's a reason why we cut Shaq Thompson. It's not that hard to compute, guys. Let's just continue I'm looking forward just to more of these tapes, man, because the eye in the sky does not lie. Guys are actually out here competing. They're checking off the box. It's nothing but greens across my board right now with this guy currently speaking. I think that we shake up the draft. Like I said, this was my mock draft before the NFL Scouting Combine. I don't even have Jihad Campbell in my top 18, but you're going to see a difference in my mock draft, and it's all because of how guys are testing at the highest level at the NFL Scouting Combine. So it's going to be interesting. You are going to see a lot of changes and a lot of drops. But this is very much likely that we could shake up the draft and draft Fred Warner 2.0. Now, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is also a guy that has been linked with us in free agency. A guy from ESPN says that this could be one of the possible landing spots for Nick Chubb. And when you look at Nick Chubb, I understand he has had a history, really the last 2 seasons with injuries. I understand that. But he's still a guy that can produce. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be our day one starter. We know Chuba Hubbard is the guy for us. And he's only filling that void until Jonathan Brooks comes back. He can literally do everything that Jonathan Brooks can do except for catch the ball at the backfield. Age 29, he's a little more on the older side. Only played 8 games this past season. 441 yards per game this past season, 3 total touchdowns, and 332 rushing yards this past season. But what you're going to get a guy that's going to, one, establish the tone early and often. When you have a dynamic 1-2 punch with him and Chuba Hubbard, you think of all the great running games that we had, even the running games that we had when we went to the Super Bowl. Deshaun Foster, Stephen Davis, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Mike Tolbert. Jonathan Stewart, Christian McCaffrey, there was always a lightning and a thunder when we think about the physical nature of the Carolina Panthers, and he fits the mold. Like I said, I understand he's older. I understand he's coming off of knee surgery, but he's back. He's back and he's healthy. You saw at the end of the last season, he was breaking off some good runs, man. So I think if he clears the physicals, obviously we're going to test out his knees and his legs, but he could be easily a nice 1-year rental. A 1-year rental with Chuba Hubbard, a guy that is going to, ground and pound as well and cause more throwing lanes for Bryce Young. That'll be the best. So, man, I'm looking forward to day 2. And once again, man, we will be back on Panthers Pride.